The holographic transmission flickered to life across 10,000 worlds simultaneously. On every screen in the Valdari Empire, from the crystal spires of their home world to the furthest mining colonies, the same face appeared. Human, female, unflinching, General Amelia Cross stood in the ruins of what had once been Sydney. Behind her, the skeletal remains of the Opera House jutted from radioactive ash like broken teeth. Smoke still rose from the crater that had swallowed half the city. She wore no ceremonial uniform, no polished medals, just battle-scarred armor, streaked with dust and dried blood. "My name is General Amelia Cross of the Terran Defense Coalition," she began, her voice carrying the weight of 20 billion graves. "3 months ago, your empire sent a fleet to my world. You gave no warning, no declaration, no mercy." The camera panned across the devastation. Cities reduced to glass, forests turned to ash, oceans boiling under the residual heat of plasma bombardment. "You believed humans were a curiosity," Amelia continued, "a primitive species squabbling on a backwater planet, rich in resources, but lacking the technology to defend ourselves. You saw us as insects to be exterminated before we could become a nuisance." Her jaw tightened. "You were wrong." On the Valdari throne world of Keshtar, Emperor Jalkin watched the transmission with 3 of his compound eyes, the 4th swiveling to observe his military advisors. The insectoid ruler clicked his mandibles in what passed for amusement among his kind. "A single surviving general makes threats," he chittered. "Their world burns, and still they posture?" But Admiral Vexener, commander of the 7th Fleet, did not share his emperor's confidence. "Your Magnificence, we lost contact with the 7th 2 weeks ago. They were conducting mop-up operations in the outer system. Lost contact." The emperor's amusement faded. "Explain." Before Vexener could respond, General Cross continued speaking. "When you struck Earth, you killed my daughter." Her voice remained steady, but something dangerous flickered in her eyes. "She was 7 years old. Her name was Sophie, and she died in a hospital that your bombs vaporized while she was sleeping." The camera moved to show another figure stepping into frame. A young man, perhaps 25, with the same haunted determination in his expression. He wore the insignia of a tactical officer. "This is Lieutenant Felix Cross, my son," Amelia said. "He survived because he was stationed on our orbital defense platform when your attack began. He watched your fleet turn our home into a graveyard, watched his little sister die from space, unable to help her." Felix spoke for the first time, his voice hoarse. "You made a tactical error. You assumed our orbital facilities were military targets and destroyed most of them. But you missed one. Station Prometheus, a deep space research facility on the edge of our solar system." Amelia took over again. "For 200 years, humanity has studied the stars and dreamed of reaching them. We built Prometheus to develop faster-than-light travel. We were 3 years away from our first successful test." She smiled, and it was terrifying. "It took us 3 weeks. The transmission shifted. Now it showed grainy footage from a ship's bridge. Human crew members worked frantically at stations, displaying alien script, Valdari script. This is the VES Infinite Glory," Felix narrated. "Your empire's flagship. We captured it intact when we ambushed your 7th Fleet. 37 Valdari warships, reduced to debris and prisoners. We lost 16 human vessels, retrofitted civilian ships with weapons we built from scrap. In desperation, the Emperor rose from his throne, all for eyes now fixed on the screen. You taught us about your shielding technology." Amelia continued. "Your plasma weaponry, your FTL drives, and most importantly, you taught us where you live." The image changed again, showing a star map. The Valdari Empire's territory glowed in red, hundreds of systems, thousands of worlds. Earth sat at the edge, a tiny blue dot. "We are not a warrior species," Amelia said. "We're explorers, dreamers, builders. We reached our moon with chemical rockets and determination. We split the atom to power our cities. We connected our entire world through invisible signals in the air." She leaned forward, and every being in the Empire felt the weight of her gaze. "But you murdered our children. You glassed our cities. You thought you would exterminate us before we could become a threat." Her voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried more menace than any shout. "You succeeded only in showing us what we're capable of. When you take away everything we have to lose, Felix stepped forward again. We've had 3 months to reverse engineer your technology, 3 months to build ships, 3 months to recruit every surviving human who can hold a weapon or operate a console, 3 months to plan our response. Amelia finished. The transmission split into multiple feeds. Dozens of them, hundreds, each showed a human warship crewed. Angular vessels clearly built with desperate speed, but bristling with weapons and crackling with energy. You have 60 worlds in the outer reaches of your empire, Amelia said. Colonies far from your core systems, mining worlds, agricultural planets, places you consider expendable. The feeds showed those worlds now. Human fleets in orbit. Valdari defense forces either destroyed or in retreat. We have claimed them all in the last 72 hours, she continued. Not to exterminate your people, we are not you. We've evacuated your civilians to neutral zones. But your military infrastructure, your shipyards, your supply lines, those are gone. Emperor Jalkin's mandibles clicked in fury. Ready the Grand Fleet. I want every warship. You can send your Grand Fleet, Amelia interrupted, as if she could hear him across light years. You have more ships than us, better technology, centuries of military experience. You will probably win. She paused, but you'll have to find us first. And while you hunt us through the dark between stars, while you fortify your worlds and marshal your forces, ask yourself this question: what will humanity accomplish in another 3 months? Another year? We learned your technology in weeks. We crossed the galaxy in days. We infiltrated your military networks to broadcast this message. Felix spoke again. Your empire spans centuries. You've conquered 100 species, but none of them unified like we have. None of them lost everything in a single day and chose to burn across the stars for vengeance. Amelia stepped forward one final time, her face filling every screen in the empire. You struck Earth first, believing we would die quietly. Instead, you taught us to be something we never wanted to be. You created an enemy that will never stop, never forgive, and never surrender. She raised her hand in a gesture that was somehow both a salute and a promise. This is humanity's declaration. We are coming for you. Not today, perhaps, not tomorrow, but we are coming. We will dismantle your empire piece by piece. We will free the species you've enslaved. And when we finally reach your throne world, when your emperor stands before us, we will ask him one question: was Earth worth it? The transmission ended. Across the Valdari Empire, 1,000 alarms began to sound. Fleet commanders scrambled to defensive positions. Planets fortified their shields. And in the dark between stars, crude human warships with names like Vengeance and Sophie's Fury began their long hunt. Behind them, in the ruins of Earth, survivors looked up at the stars their children would inherit and whispered a new prayer. Never again. The galaxy had struck first. Now it would learn what humanity meant by last.